What's good, Team Solo? Your boy, the Soloist, back at it like a crack addict, bringing you another Monster Hunter video. Today's video is about the Monster Hunter beta that was released, long overdue, and by long I mean like a couple of days, probably like 4 or 5. I haven't posted anything on this channel. That's because I am trying to update everything, trying to get everything ready for the New Year's. There's things that I've wanted to do that now I'm starting to be able to do, and that's basically what is going on. I made some changes. I did a channel update before, but now I'm making another channel update soon enough to update you on the new year and some of the things that I want to integrate into this channel. All right, and actually I want to run it by you guys as well to see if this is where you guys would be interested. Right, so I won't even get into that. That's a whole separate video that I will be doing about the beta, right? I always feel like I'm gonna I can't breathe. Like, hold up. This is my favorite flask. My girl actually got this for me. I don't know why. It's kind of cool. It says like this is 2020, and it's like little for I don't know, like rectangle water bottle. I think it's cool. Anyway, if someone asked me that in a live stream, like, oh yo, I thought you were drinking some craziness because I usually put like Kool-Aid. Anyways, back to this, the beta, my review, my thoughts. What do I think? How am I thinking? Is it good? Is it bad? Do I like it? Do I not like it? Was it terrible? Why do they have this? Why do they have that? No, I don't really care. I think everything was good. Was it okay? What about the graphics? What about the graphics? What about the character? What about the weapon sets? Were they everything that you expected them to be? Or were they trash? Absolute trash. Right? So a whole bunch of different questions out there. I'm sure a lot of you guys have in your mind. I am basically going to tell you everything that I think about it, starting with the positive things, right? The first thing that stood out to me was the graphics. The graphics were impeccable. I expected nothing less from Capcom when it comes to Monster Hunter. I remember playing Monster Hunter Tri way back, probably in like 2008. I don't even know if the game came out then, but I think it was around that time, that Monster Hunter Tri, when I was playing it. And at that time, if you don't know about the Wii, there was a couple of good games on the Wii, but graphically, that was not the console that you wanted to be on if you really cared about graphics. And Monster Hunter World was one of the ones that made people think otherwise, that this console, the Wii at the time, did have some graphical capabilities that could be used and exploited, right? So at that time, I remember playing Monster Hunter and just being completely surprised on how beautiful the game, was rendered out. Now, fast forward 2017, Monster Hunter World Beta, it is equally as beautiful in a different time, but just equally as beautiful and stunning. You look at all of the nature, all of the elements, just, the ground. I like the sliding effect. You see the dust that grows around with it. Like, just so much, it was just so beautiful to look at and play. Nothing short of what I expected in that department. When I think of the gameplay, whole bunch of different weapons you have, right? I said in my top 3 most weapon most appealing weapons. Most appealing weapons, I said that the Insect Glaive was one of them, the Hunting Horn was another one, and I believe the Gun Lance was the third one. So those are my 3 most appealing weapons, and surprisingly enough, the Insect Glaive does not seem like a weapon that I will be personally using. I understand a lot of people liked it for the aerodynamics capabilities of this weapon, and that is fun to play. My boy Swagger Genesis, who I was playing with a lot of the time online with, he ended up using the Insect Glaive, and the way we work it out, because we've been boys for a long time, and you get to call dibs on a certain weapon, or in any game we play you get to do that, a certain character, and the Insect Glaive was his, so I kind of let that go. But I did test it out, and the Insect Glaive was cool, but you don't get to stay in the air for not nearly as long as I thought. I thought it would be infinitely you could stay in the air, and even though that is the case, the monsters move around way too much in this game for you to be able to do anything close to like 5-6 sets. If you're able to do that, then you must be really talented at this game, or you're just modding the hell out of it. Like, those are the only 2 things I could think of. But it is a good weapon. I did end up finding myself using a lot of the bow. Interestingly enough, I didn't think I would use the bow. I thought it was cool. I didn't see myself using it a lot, but I had. And I used it quite well, and I actually think that's my most used weapon in the whole beta. It moves well. I do feel like, how do I say? it doesn't feel repetitive. You would think it would feel repetitive, even when that goes across all of the weapons. You think it would feel, repetitive at times, and you don't ever get that feeling, or at least I didn't get that from it. But all the weapons are pretty interesting. I found myself wanting, like when I use the hunting horn, for instance, and I know I'm jumping around, but try to follow if you can. I remember using the hunting horn, and I just thought that this was confusing out hell, right? And I'm like, I need more mobility. I just hate the fact that I'm always lagging behind, but I can't get that out of this weapon. So I found myself switching to the bow, right? And then I'm like, okay, I like the bow, but I like to be able to shoot from afar. I can still have some mobility and still be in the action, but I didn't feel like, just shooting the same air. I felt like, okay, maybe I need something more. So I switched to the bow gun. I'm like, okay, the bow gun's nice, and I like the shield aspect of it, but do I really need a shield? Like, I can shoot from so far away, I don't feel like I'm in the scene, so I went to the switch act. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. And the point is, Capcom has done such a great job, I find, in making it so that each weapon has its own niche, right? And it only intersects with other sections very, not thin, but not as much, to the point where if you really, are invested in a certain play style, or you really value a certain mechanic in a game, then that will automatically turn you towards a different weapon. There's no weapon that's sort of all-encompassing, thereby aka OP, that you could just do everything with, right? So that's a very, very nice mechanic. I find that a lot of people, surprising enough, will use more weapons than I thought. I thought if you look at the breakdown of all the weapons there, you'll have, in terms of like when, when people actually get the game, that 60% of them will use the insect glaive, like 10% of them will use like the great sword. I thought I'd be able to divide it like this, but I think the weapons themselves are so balanced that it's hard to really even gauge that, and I don't think there's one weapon that truly stands above the rest. Insect glaive does seem to be the most fitting choice. If I had to put my life on it, I wouldn't though, just for that. So, but yeah, no, graphically, I think it's a great game. The beta did a great job of showing that. The weapons were also very great and balanced as well, making it so that any weapon is truly valid in terms of their gameplay. I will switch over to some of the cons because it does remind me of it, and they're just two things really that I'm nitpicking at, and one of them is the, how do I say it? What's the word for it? Not the overlay, but the UI? Can I say that? Basically the health bar, the stamina bar, everything that is displayed on screen. I can't remember the exact word for it. I know there's a word. I'm just gonna go with UI. I just wish, and I hope that there's a feature, because there was nothing that indicated that there was or wasn't that I seen in the beta, that I can turn off a lot of them. I really like that when you look at the weapons, or you look at items when you need to heal potions, you can hold like L2, I think it is, and move R, right? You move your right analog stick, and you can actually switch from healing using a whetstone to to sharpen up your weapon. You can do all of that stuff. Now with that feature, that makes it in such a way where I don't need all of these things displayed on the screen. I really don't need any of that, right? And and the more I play, is the less I need those things on screen. I think they did a really good job with that, but I think they should make the UI reflect that, right? So that's one of the nitpicks I have. And the other one that I have is the damage, right? It displays the damage when you hit the monsters. It shows you when you get 10 damage, 22 damage, 5 damage, some of them even 1-2 damages, right? So you can see, okay, which moves are effective, which is the right place on the monster to hit. I found out with the bow, I shoot it at the head. I'm like, okay, I get 12 damage here. I'm shooting it at the neck. I get 8 damage here. The body, I'm like, okay, I get 2, 3. So I'm like, okay, the body isn't really the place where I need to hit. In the tail, obviously I get more. I get like 12 or 13 in some instances when I was fighting like the Great Jagras, for instance. So, something like that does well for the understanding of, the monster's weaknesses, where's the best place to hit the monsters and things like this. But I very much enjoyed, and I'm a bit nostalgic on this feature, that you'd be able to tell all those things just by how the monster was reacting, by the sound of your blade hitting the monsters, right? or by the grunting noises of the monster that you're fighting. You can tell all these things with time. And I think that showing the numbers, I understand that it is a Japanese-based game, and that definitely is always a thing there, but I would just much rather it not be that way, or at least have a feature to turn off seeing your own damage, right? So that would solve all problems. But those are just two things that aren't really a big deal, but for me, I would much rather have it the way that I explained to you guys there. As far as the beta is concerned, what was a little bit of a hassle was to enter the matches. I didn't really like entering the pins over and over and over again. I think that at the end of matches, they should actually have it default to, how do I say it? I think they should actually have it default to staying with your party and trying again. So I failed, if you watch the live stream, I failed a couple of the quests, right? I failed a couple of them, and I would immediately press X, or immediately X to continue, X to retry, just like you would in any game, right? Like you lose, you just want to try again, you press X, and they actually had it defaulted to disband the party, and that brought us back to the main menu in which we'd have to apply a code and do all these things, which was super annoying, right? Super annoying to enter a code and then you tell your friend, and it's case sensitive as well, so like, if you get one part wrong, you have to read it over. I really didn't like that. I would just much rather them have it default to that. Now, if you're not understanding what I'm saying, imagine playing a fighting game with somebody one-on-one, or you have your friend over, you guys are playing a fighting game, and you guys played a match, and you're just pressing X to redo it, but instead of it clicking rematch, it actually brings you to the main menu where you have to press start, go back in a free battle, choose your characters, go to the stage selection, and do all that stuff. So I mean, it's just not necessarily the best way to go about it. So that's a small change. I'm sure they just put it all together for the beta, and that will be fixed, in the actual game. They'll probably have their own interface better for that and all that stuff. So I'm not too worried about that part. But yeah, overall, I think it's a very super solid game. Super solid game. And I wasn't going to talk about it, but I saw videos about a second beta being released. Like, what the frig? We're about to watch that. Like, I'm actually going to watch that right now. Obviously present it to you guys. But that is what I like. I like that. They had a beta. They said, okay, that worked. Okay, let's throw something else at them. The game releases in January 20th, in like a month and a half. And they're still throwing a second beta at us. Like, did they plan that? I wonder. What do you guys think? Do you think they actually plan to throw out another beta at us? Like, was that premeditated, or they just considered it after this one? I have to say, like, there's no way they're that crazy to just think about that beforehand. It's okay, we're going to release 2 betas. Like, no, I don't think it works that way. But maybe you guys do, and, perhaps you guys know more about this than I do. Because I'm just getting into it now, right? So I'm just trying to get all up to date in the whole Monster Hunter scene. But yeah, what else? What else is on my mind? I'm trying to think. So the gameplay was good. Graphics were good. I had some pet peeves here and there. Hunting is crazy. The hunting is crazy. And one thing that me and Swagagen came to realize is that you have to know the environment. One thing that was a bit annoying is that we failed a couple quests. I hate to say that. We failed a couple quests basically because we couldn't find the monster fast enough. Now, that could just be on our own hunting abilities, and maybe we have to utilize the environment more, and I'm completely cool with that. I hope that's the case. But we didn't get lucky once finding the monster early. Not one single time. So that's something there. But like the way they have it set up, you have to utilize the environment in order for you to succeed in the quest. That is plain point blank period. You have to utilize the environment, from the scout flies, right, to the trees that get broken down. You need to set it up so the monsters break down the environment so that they fall into the traps so you can get a better advantage. You have to use your shock traps and things like this. And more importantly, you have to get other monsters to fight your monster. So understanding the hierarchy of monsters will definitely go a long ways in terms of helping you. For instance, the Anjanath. The Anjanath trumps all other ground monsters, right? So having another monster come into play, you know that if there's an interaction between them two, because he's he's an alpha in the jungle, that he's going to take charge, and destroy all these other monsters that are there, right? So that'll give you the advantage to be able to attack it. But the Rathalos trumps everything in this jungle, right? So you really want to keep the Rathalos and the Anjanath, for instance, in constant battle the whole time. So one way to do that is by, shooting things at the Rathalos in order to have it follow you and keep that confrontation going, because I think Swagger said he's seen damage of like $2,000 when the Rathalos threw the Anjanath to the ground. Did I say dollars? I don't know. 2,000 damage when you threw the Anjanath to the ground. So that's huge damage, especially when you're giving like 20, 30 here and there. So things like that. It's very, very well put together, and I think this video is running pretty long, so I think I'll end it there. But that's my thoughts on the beta. Again, I'm heading home soon enough. I actually stayed back. I'm at school right now. I live back. We're back home soon enough, so I actually stayed at school for another 2 to 3 days. My girl actually went back home, and I stayed here so I could record a whole bunch of videos, because I don't have my whole setup like this, obviously at my house. So I'm just trying to record as many videos and stuff now, and work on a whole bunch of things, and then I can put that out for the next 2 weeks until I'm able to come back for the beginning of next semester, which is like January 3rd or something like that. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that. I'll tell you more in my channel update. I think that will be the next video I do, and then after that we're gonna look at that beta, because I want to see what they're gonna release in the other beta. I need to see it, so stay tuned for all that. Anyways, yeah, that's it. I'm being weird again, I know. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe if you're new, do all that stuff. Again, everybody who subscribed, yo, you guys have been showing me mad love recently. Yo, I gotta shout out everybody. And one thing, oh my god, that's in the channel update, but I'll say it here now, because if you're watching it, I want so bad to do this, and I'm gonna do it. I don't care what anybody says. I think it's a good idea for everybody, but I'm going to I want to have a series where I react to one of my subscribers' videos and promote their videos, because I know how hard it is to get that first 100 subscribers, and people always say that, I only have 100 and something subscribers. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't have 1 million subscribers looking down on all these little YouTubers saying, oh, I know how hard it was. I remember when I did it back in 2004, all you guys got to do is try hard and do all this stuff and you'll be good. No, shut up, man, shut up. That's not how it works. Sorry, maybe that was a little bit too mean, but I want to help out my subscribers, because I ain't above nobody. I will never be above anybody, and I think one of the best ways to do that is by I try to comment on everybody's channel, but I also want to react to your channel, and hopefully some of us will float to you guys as well. So anyways, that's just an idea in my head. I've talked way too long, so I'm just gonna put this out. Yeah, anyway, subscribe to your boy, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in my later videos. Your boy, the Soloist. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all you guys. I really, really do. And yeah, peace.